So good morning. Today I will be correcting the text that you recorded, that you wrote last class. That text was related to a questionnaire that you had to fill out right there. It's a letter that you write to your severe parents. Your parents don't want you to have a job, so you have to convince them that you will succeed at working and going to school at the same time without having trouble in school. So your group decided the name of the student would be Joël, 17 years old, from Saint-Nicolas. And the question here was, what is the decision that you took in relation with having a job in high school? You wrote, do both because I am responsible. So that's one information that's there. Responsible comes from the text. The text that you read, it's very good, but I have to see it in your text at the bottom. Your major argument, he. So it was your major argument here, but you wrote nothing. So the plan here is lacking a little something. So here is your plan for the buddy. What type of job you want to have, the description and advantages of having a job. You think about that. I will never ask you money. So you talk to your parents here. It's a very good idea. I will never ask you money. Ask for money is a good argument. I will have my own cash. It's a repetition. Getting more autonomous. Autonomous was in the text that you read. Can help me for my future life. Future life is interesting there. Also, I could have a job about my future job, so getting experience. Work in a cinema, it could help me. Two is two with two O's, because a good scenarist and have more experiences to put on my resume. CV in English, we say resume. So that was for the advantages. Now for the disadvantages. The concerns, lose time. That was in the text. With your friends, lose time to do your homework, lose time to see your crush, lost time to help your family at home. So there, you talked about the concerns. You forgot to commit to something, so you forgot to say, okay, I might lose time for all that, but I'm ready to do this, I'm ready to do that. I promise I will succeed in school, or things like that. Now for the last paragraph about how to get a job. Remember, you have to talk to your parents. So make a CV or resume. Do voluntary work. That was in the text to enrich your resume. So yes, it is important. And the conclusion here, you have to repeat your strong argument of the beginning that was in the introduction. Argument. All right. And there was the checklist. So it's important that you do your checklist. Did you complete the plan? Yes. Did you use the ideas in your questionnaire and write a first draft of your letter? Well, we wrote it on the computer, so that is yes, but make sure you use the ideas of your questionnaire in the revision. The advantages are there? Yes. The concerns of your parents? Well, we don't know yet. We are going to go see in your paragraphs, but when you come back, it's important you do a final checkup. So now it's time for the correction of your text. It begins with something good, but there's a problem here. Dear mom and dad, dear mom and dear dad, you should have put a capital D there. Now you begin your letter. I am a good person with feelings. This is exactly why you should read this letter. I am 17 years old, and I think I am able to have my first job without, that's one word, your opinion. Without your opinion, or your permission maybe. I am much mature enough. I am mature enough. So for your introduction, I think it is good. There's the beginning, dear mom and dad. You could have begun by, this is Joël, because your parents may have 2 or more children, so they have to know who you are. Now, in the advantages here, think about that. I will never ask you money. So never ask for money, because I will have my own cash. 2, getting more autonomous can help me for my future life. Also, I could have a job related to my future job. Like if I work in a cinema, it could help me to be a good scenarist and have more experience. In English, you cannot count experience. It's a non-count noun, so you don't put an S. More experience to put on my resume. There, the problem in this paragraph, I only see a little bit of information about the texts, that it's not 100% clear that this comes from the text and that you understood the text. It might come from your head or a mix of the text and the head, so you're not proving that you read and understood the text. So I need to see more in your final exam. Disadvantages, there is a big penalty because it's not there. So there's one thing missing. How to find a job. I already made my CV, so a resume, and I do, depending, voluntary work. So that is very good because it comes from the text. The idea comes from the text. To enrich it, you won't have to travel me because I will take the bus or I will go. So this is the beginning of a very good paragraph, but it's incomplete. And finally, the conclusion. As you can see, I am a young person and I want to work this year with this job. I'm going to have my own money and I can do my own things. So that's good. You're talking to your parents. You're giving more arguments. And that's the end. But there are elements that are missing in this paragraph and this paragraph. So let's go see what it will give on the evaluation sheet. So, for your text in the competency 2 here, Reinvest understanding of texts. Unfortunately, it has been really, really tough for you to reinvest and to show me that you understood the text you read. So I will have to go maybe in this section, maybe there, and maybe there. We have to read a little bit. So student text does not include ideas, language from the text in the magazine. So that is a little bit true, but it's not complete. Almost all of the student's text is copied, so that's not true. Student's text is well below task requirement. That's a little bit true. So let's go see this way. Student's text insufficiently meets task requirement. I like this one. So that one is true. And here, student text incoherently or insufficiently combines idea and language from the text in the magazine. Well, for us, it was not the magazine, it was an internet site with own ideas. So this one, I like it too. It represents your text. Some parts of students' text may be copied, so that is not true. So I will go with a 17 for your result in the competency 2. So 17 out of 30, which is not a big success. On the other hand, let's move this here. On the other hand, as for writing a text, for your error, the formulation of your message, it contains errors in forms. Most of the time, it does not impede my understanding. So when I was reading, I could understand you all the time. But there are missing parts. So the text is not long enough. So I would have to go at the bottom there, or maybe in between there. I'd have to go read it again. But for the purpose of this example, let's go with the 23. So 23 out of 30, because most of your sentences were quite good. And I cannot combine those two totals because they're separate competencies. So that's 23 points out of 30 in the competency 3. And that one is 17 out of 30 in the competency 2. And that result is 30 points for the whole year. For the year, sorry. So it is really, really important you take it seriously.